Okay, I'd like to invite the final speaker of this morning's session. He's Dr. Najem Al Falahe. He's a senior consultant psychiatrist and neurophysiologist, and he is working in the Priory Hospital and Harley Street in London. He has extensive action research, clinical research in the fields of, his clinical fields of family medicine, neurology, neurobiology, and psychiatry. He is particularly interested in when a patient or when somebody has a problem but does not want to engage in the services. And he and his team have developed bespoke and effective treatment programs whereby they can try and work with these people who have challenging cases. So I'm going to hand over to Dr. Najem.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for inviting me here. I have been in the last 10 years in Doha, and each time I am here, I feel home. Our journey started really more than 10 years ago. We have patients from the region comes to us, and they stay in London for treatment for 1 or 2 months. And then they want to return home, and we want to find doctors or facilities that can follow them up. And I started to contact my colleagues in different parts of the region. And I started to have a list of colleagues that I can refer to. So the journey started from a need to find colleagues to continue the work that we start. And one of them was Dr. Abdullah Sharqi. I don't know if he's here. And we met in Jeddah, and we worked together regarding one of our patients. And then we moved further. In the beginning of the presentation, if you allow me, I will show you a few family photos. This is the photo of Abdullah Al-Johi, and one of my colleagues here in Naufar about 2 years ago when it was under construction. The story starts when Dr. Sharif Al-Imadi invited me for 1 week in Al-Aween to work with patients and therapists. And it was a huge learning experience for me. I learned a lot during that week. This is me and Dr. Muhammad. Dr. Muhammad and Dr. Justin and Bella came to visit us in London for 4 days. Those 4 days were very interesting for us because not only we worked on a management level, we worked on visiting four facilities. And those facilities were the Priory, LiveWorks, isn't it? And it was, I think, Nightingale and Promise. And during the whole trip for 4 days, we created a team together, a Naufar group and London and Surrey group. We were meeting there, visiting the facilities, see the programs and seeing the therapist, and not only evaluating the program, we also evaluate the capabilities of different therapists and the way that they are giving their work. So in this way, we created a base of understanding. It was extremely useful in this case. This is Dr. Muhammad and myself in my home in London. I will start with 3 treatment models. And it is extremely important to think about it in historical pattern. The first one is the NHS model, which started many years ago, and it was mainly in the UK to do the detox and outpatient treatments. And until now, it is similar to this level. The other one which has been developed during the last 30 years, is that a private healthcare model. We have about 12% of the population in the UK who has insurance, and some of the people, they sell their cars to come into the private health in order to get the treatment. And this is in the facilities that started about 30 years ago, and these facilities is increasing. Before that, the only thing that we had is the NHS. Today, I am going to talk about and concentrate on something that we started to see, and Naufar is putting it on the map here in the Gulf region by the 6 villas that are very exotic and very nice to be there and see them. And it is the privileged patients model. This is the English royal family, everyone knows that. And the question is that, shall we treat those privileged people in our private healthcare model? Or shall we create a model which is clearly catered to them? The answer, we will go through the story today, and maybe we can reach to a conclusion later. Why? Because their lifestyle is different. A few things about them. Before I started to work with the royalties, celebrities, film stars, I could see one of the things that they are always, they don't go out alone. Always there is someone with them. And the higher in the hierarchy, the larger number of entourage they go with. One can say, is there a difference? Yes, huge difference. Because the entourage has huge impact on the treatment. They can either help you through the treatment, or they can destroy the treatment. And sometimes they can even put the life of the patient in danger because of them. Lifestyle. You and I think several times before going and buying a suit. They can go to Harrods and buy a suit which can cost, give me a number, the highest that you can think. Number, £45,000. And they don't, maybe he doesn't like it, and change his mind. Next day, he will buy another one. I had a patient who bought a private jet. And you know, when you buy a private jet, I didn't know about that. When you buy a private jet, like buying a flat, you need to have furniture. So he designed the furniture, and at the same time, unfortunately, a new private jet came into the market. So he needed to buy the new one. Sorry for him. But this is the reality. So if we don't understand these things, we cannot treat them. It is a completely different mindset. I will talk about the invisible man with my first case. This is a novel, a science fiction story, wrote 1897, so it is about 120 years. How many of us has read this novel, or a summary of it, or saw a film? The film was, oh, there are so many people, okay. The interesting about this story is there is an invisible man who is moving around and no one seeing him, but he is causing so much trouble. and so much problem for himself and the people and the family around him. And no one can catch him in order to help him. Okay? Because normally it is, as we imagine, he is invisible. And the end of the story, tragic. The invisible man get destroyed. Why it is related to our work? The invisible man. One of the ladies asked a question yesterday, and today it was discussed, how our patient comes to us. So most of them, they are under a type of force. But many of them, they don't come. They are there like the invisible man. We can call them the invisible patients. They are there making problems for themselves and for their families and for the societies. And today, I will tell you a story of one of the invisible men. The story started, and his wife remembered very well. One of the evenings, she came into the to the bathroom after the husband was there, and she found spots of blood on the floor. And she came to her husband and she asked him what was going on. He was angry, he didn't answer her, and they entered into an argument. And she was really frustrated. She left home. She was looking around at home. She found crack cocaine. She contacted his boss. The boss informed her that he hasn't been at work for some time. But he was disappearing every now and then from home, telling her that he is on work trips. She went around to different therapists and psychiatrists asking for help. How can she bring this invisible man, invisible patient into treatment? He is refusing to come into treatment. Suggestions. What can we do? How can we help this lady? How can we change the destiny of the invisible patient? And it doesn't need to be like the invisible man. Please help. Ideas. Outreach. In which way? Excellent. Go and visit him. Excellent. I think that is a very good suggestion. Any other suggestion? Sorry?
Whatever he likes, and have some sort of an inquisitive mind to that person that will make him think and want to know more.
Excellent. So increase information about the problem. Outreach, impossible. He doesn't want to see any of us. Introducing information, I think it's extremely good idea, but didn't work. Family intervention, it is impossible to confront him with the problem. So the end of this story could be a distraction. Family communication breaks down. The family, the extended family, they don't have any sympathy for him anymore. Resentment. Why is he so stubborn, so selfish? How can he behave like this? All these things, you can find it in the family. He, from his side, he feels that he is judged. He is a bad person. And he feels that he's a criminal. And the more they tell him go to treatment, the more he is pushed into his prison cell. So what we worked with is to work with the family to psychoeducate them. He doesn't want to come to us. We said, okay, let us work with you, the family. Instead of pushing him into, you need to come and to be treated, start to repair the communication. The wife, instead of you need to accept his situation and understand it. So each member of the family, we gave him or gave her a role. The wife tried to be kind to him. Instead of not communicating only by email, try to be there and talk to him and spend some time with him. And don't nag him regarding the treatment. The parents send a positive, strong message. Even if you are not going to see him, the siblings can see him. The best friend, talk about interesting thing. The boss invite him to a restaurant. And I was sitting with the boss. It was a Friday at 5 o'clock in my clinic. And he told me, doctor, I invited him to a restaurant, but I will not go. Because any minute, the police can come, and he has crack cocaine, and they will take us both. I told him, don't worry. Where are you taking your dinner? He told me, in this restaurant, in the hotel. I told him, this is my car. I am sitting in the nearby restaurant. If the police came, just tell them he is under the treatment of Dr. Al Falahe, and I will come. So reassure him. Reassuring psychoeducation and push them nearby him without nagging him. The objective of our journey, which took 6 months without seeing the patient, seeing the family members several times, sometimes a week, to move him from the helplessness into a clear role, from the prison cell into the empowerment, restore the foundation of this happiness. His happiness is family, work, role. So give him these things. So he will accept his new role, and this will be the first steps in the treatment. So the process, we had it so many times, and it can take the minimum 3 days, the maximum six months. But it is quite simple, and sometimes it's quite complicated. It is flexible, imaginative, sometimes slow, sometimes very fast. And the most important thing is the interpersonal dynamics. When he started the treatment, you can find a charming, personable, interesting person. This was the first case. The second case is the unimaginable scenario. They phoned me, it was mid-December, rainy, windy London. Sunday, asked me to see a patient. So I went to see this gentleman. He is in late 30s. This gentleman is extremely nice person, very well traveled, highly educated, sitting home with the problem sleeping tablets. I want a record here. How many patients, how many sleeping tablets have anyone been in contact with that a patient has been taking per day? 20? 30? A number? 50? What type of sleeping tablets were there? Zolpidem 50, 10 milligrams. Okay. So, Mo, how did you treat the patient? So, it worked in a psychiatric facility. Yeah. Okay. Where was that? Okay. This patient, believe me or not, he was taking 400 tablets to 800 tablets of Solbidam each day. And this was in mid-December, and I tried to find him a facility to treat him. I went to the Priory. They told me we cannot admit him. We don't have these to all the facilities in the UK, and they said no. Okay? And at the same time, he told me, I received a telephone call from his assistant telling me, doctor, he doesn't want to be treated now, after the new year. He saved my trip during December month. So I went with the family, but I was very worried because the people who worked in the UK knows that this was now it is my responsibility. Any minute he dies, the coroner will bring me to a discussion. How did you leave him die? So when he decided to be treated after the new year, I couldn't find any place. At that time, I was on a trip to Sierra Tucson in the States, and I presented the case, and they said no. So where can we treat such a patient? Ideas? Naufar, yeah, could be. I already sent one patient to a Naufar a year ago. No, it was Al-Aween. The only place that's possible to treat such a patient is heart intensive care unit. And I went to a hospital heart intensive care unit, and I sat with them, and they accepted him. Next day, the medical director phoned me, doctor, we cannot do that. So I was lucky. We had a hospital which has a heart intensive care unit, and previously they treated psychiatric patients. And I could start talking with a hepatologist, a colleague of mine, and before talking to the medical director, I created a team of 3 specialty. Hepatologist, internal medicine, intensive care doctor, and psychiatry. And we were there. Myself, I was there at least 6 hours a day to train the people who are in the place and reassure them that things will go well. Okay? And one of the things that happened, one of his entourage, one of his helpers, week 2, introduced behind our back zolpidem to him. And he was on the way to die. But it went well. 5 weeks in the heart intensive care unit, and it went well. So this is the second case. The third case, the biggest problem with this group of patients, the privileged group, it is extremely difficult to challenge them. And an important part of the treatment of addiction is to challenge their behavior. They haven't heard a word no in their life. Everything is available. I mean, Rolls Royce, it's there. So whatever they want. So the biggest problem is that when they are sitting in a team and the coordinator challenge them, when they challenge them, they file complaints. And the whole process changed. They are not only, this is a lady, she is not only, she is a lovely lady. The patients like her, the staff like her, but in the sessions, she is not only difficult to challenge, but when the coordinator challenged another patient, she starts to be with the patient against the coordinator. So the staff told me, we cannot have her. Kick her out. I went to the parents and I told them, sorry, this is the situation. Doctor, you have been recommended by a doctor in the States. Our daughter has been 3 times in a facility in the States, and we haven't got the results. Help us. What can I do? File a complaint. The staff doesn't want her. Some of the patient doesn't want her. The majority of the patient adore her and they want her. So what to do? Ideas. Room in my house. Very good idea. My wife will divorce me. You Iraq, you know the Iraqi woman. Ideas. It is very important to discuss these cases because this is really a new area of development regarding addiction. And I am very happy that Al Naufar has 6 villas here, because this is a development that we need to work on. So what to do? The team doesn't want her, and the parents want her to stay in the program. Yes. Excellent. Excellent. Yes.
So it's about giving them that information that these kind of patients elicit these kind of responses.
Yes.
How we manage to get that consistent boundary set up.
Yes. Excellent. Which is extremely. Your point is very important. They even say she has a personality disorder. We cannot treat her because she has personality disorder. We need boundaries. But really, I didn't believe them because her way of being is that. And there is no personality disorder. And even if you put the boundaries, she will break them. So what I did simply, left my clinics and started working, sitting with the patients in their sessions from 9:30 to 5 o'clock. What it gave, first, the coordinator got support. Second, the patients, they can feel that this is a really multidisciplinary team. We have a therapist and we have the consultants. She started to feel more relaxed. And all the information that goes through the day, I sit and discuss it with her, reflect with her at the end of the day. So things calm down. And the story didn't finish. She didn't leave. And one of the important things is to involve the family from the beginning. And it took in and out a year of work for her to understand the program and accept the challenge. A year of work at different facilities in the UK and abroad. And when she started to understand the challenge, then the process starts. So we need to be patient. I want to finish on one thing that we have been working for 10 years, is seamless moving patients from one place to the other. That is the main thing that we are working. I was discussing with Dr. Abdallah and with Dr. Mohammed and even with Dr. Majid today. We have a patient in the UK, in London, we are treating. We need to move him to Doha or to Abu Dhabi, but this patient may be needed to move back to London. This seamless journey of patients we need to start to work on and develop, and this is our vision. Thank you.
As I said, Dr. Najem, I could stay listening to this all day. It's something we ourselves here as well have struggled with, and particularly the social workers and the addiction counsellors have contacts with families, and they start working with them, and we could learn a great deal from your work.
Welcome.
So thank you very much. I'm not going to allow questions at this point, but Dr. Najem, I'm sure any of us can just go and sit beside him at lunch and just listen to his stories. So a big round of applause, please.
Thank you.